Hey guys, Kurt with Artisan Hardscapes here. We're going to talk about big hardscape steps and some of the construction practices that we use here. So there were some mistakes made on the steps you're looking at here, and the customer contracted us to repair them. So the surface of this landing was having weird little settling pits and things like that, which should not happen on hardscape steps, because you can see the concrete footing down there. So that soil, it can't go down, it has to come out the side somewhere for you to lose the soil. And you can see with this, we have the nice tight seams here. It's not like retaining wall where there's big gap in the back, tight seams front and back. So we're going to go through a couple of things with these stairs. First, let's look at the treads. The treads, if you notice anything about these treads, they're non-standard. They're inconsistent as far as their height goes and the overhang of the bull nose right there. So let's go and measure this quick. I'll try and do it while holding the camera here. So this first step is a little bit short. We usually go for about a 6-inch step. That's pretty standard step. Step number 2, 8 inches. Huge discrepancy there. Step number 3, another 8 inches. So I don't know exactly what happened here. It seems like a big planning issue to me. These were poorly planned. Now let's go to the overhang here. So what do we have? About a 1.5 inch overhang. That's pretty good. That's about right. And here we have a little bit less, maybe 1.25 inches. In here, less than 1 inch. So I'm not sure what was going on there. Like I said, I think it was a planning issue. But I don't know, I wasn't here. I can't say for sure. So now we're gonna go over to the cap, or the actual wall here. So these are just very small 12 by 8 by 4 block, pretty standard block. You can see our cap was glued on. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And they used a good glue too, because you can see this pitting here. That means that before the glue let loose, the concrete broke. That's what we want. You have good adhesion, and you want an adhesive that's stronger than the materials you're adhering together. So, but here's the problem, is they did not glue any of the block that actually makes the step up. This is a big problem, because here's why. They filled this with class 5, which is also another no-no, and sand, like they're doing a paver patio install. And then they filled it with this fabric here. So what happens is water permeates this and tries to get out somewhere, right? This fabric clogs up and becomes a balloon, a water balloon. Then it pushes out the walls, and then you get settling on the top. The other issue here is they did not encapsulate it. They put soil right up against the house. This is another big no-no for the longevity of your house. This can lead to moisture issues behind your siding and rot out your wood sheathing underneath there. That's a big no-no. Look at what they're doing here. They used garbage to try to plug the holes, and they glued stuff right to the house. I don't know what the heck's going on here. We'll show you the other side here, where you can actually see the bulging that I'm talking about because of this fabric. So if you look down here, we got a little 1/4 inch, maybe a little bit more over here. This is this wall bulging out and causing the surface to sink. And I know these aren't glued, because watch this. See that block tapped right in? If I can do that with just tapping it with a hammer, Mother Nature is going to be able to take care of that, no problem. So none of this is glued. The way we build them is we glue all our verticals, and then we have another option where we reinforce these walls so that they cannot move. The other thing we do is we actually encapsulate this. So we'll run a course of wall behind here, and yeah, glue and reinforce that so we don't have moisture and soil up against our house. And then we don't use class 5 for fill on these right here. And we do not use sand. We use crushed rock and no fabric in there. And what that does is when the water permeates, it trickles down through the rock and it escapes out through these joints. So you don't have hydrostatic pressure, which is the fabric plugging up and pushing out against gravity, pushing that water somewhere, which is going to be out because we have a concrete footing. We can't go down and, you know, ruining your hardscape steps. These things are not cheap and they deserve better. The other issue we have here is the actual footing itself right here. It's a good thickness, looks like good concrete. What's the problem, you might think? Well, two things. One, they doweled into the house right there. So the only thing holding this concrete pad up and all the weight on top of it, plus when that soil gets saturated, water's about 8 pounds a gallon. You can imagine how many gallons can fit in there. It's pushing this down and causing stress on the dowels right here. And then you can see the cavity there. So when those two things come in combination, the slab will lean towards the house and it'll pull those dowels out. And then you have holes in your foundation, which moisture gets in there, freezes, expands, breaks your foundation up even more. Or the whole thing leans towards your house and you can see we're right up against the siding. That's another no-no. When it leans up against the house, scrape your siding, can damage your siding, and then water finds a way. Here's a good example right here. You can see our soils creeping in behind the siding. When that happens, water follows. So the way we do our footings at Artisan Hardscapes, we don't attach them to the foundation. We put a little piece of expansion joint there to protect your foundation from the footing expanding, contracting. We keep our walls about 1 inch away from your house. And then underneath here on this one, this is a big step. We'd probably put 3 8-inch pylons that go down into the ground, maybe 7 or 8 feet. And those pylons are what actually hold up all of this weight and prevent it from moving around. So I don't know if you guys have questions or want to know more. I guess give me a call. Phone number 701-200-7995. Thanks.